Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky.
And you pull out your iPhone?
Is that how you say
every show?
No, I don't have an iPhone.
Talking now?
No, this is a droid. This is not an iPhone. This is a droid. And the reason I pull out my droid is because we're going to talk high school basketball, obviously, which is fine, and I'm all good with that. But before we get into the main reason we're doing this video, sad news, Racine Prairie loses in girls basketball last night, previous to the taping, which means the career of one Gabby Ortiz is over. Are you okay?
Are we going to have a college edition starting next year?
Could.
Hey, we could talk about her at Oklahoma, you know.
Oklahoma girls basketball
and we got Logic at Iowa, you know. We got something to talk about.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, very, very disappointed game, though, from what I understand.
Loses the Dominican. I mean, neither team got over 40 points.
And you can't expect Dominican to slow
Right.
it down. I mean, that's the only way you beat Prairie. You get them into a half-court game and not let Ortiz get in the open court. And plus, you know, Dominican's pretty good. They got a good team themselves. So,
But you just thought they would go win state, didn't you? I mean,
I
I think we all thought Prairie would just go win state and that would be it.
I thought the Case boys were going to go to state,
Right.
and then they had to go through the WIAA's moronic sectional where they had 6 of the top 12 teams in the state.
Right.
But everything's good, right?
Yeah, no, not really. And it's about to get worse, I think. Now comes word from the WIAA, and the reason why we're doing this video, that there is going to be a proposal voted on coming up in April. Now, the proposal involves a 1.65 multiplier for private schools, meaning if you have, say, 1,000 kids in your school, you now have like 2,600 kids in your school, something along those lines, okay? Now, why did this start? So I have my trusty phone right here. On my phone right here, as you can see, well, you don't have glasses, but if he had glasses, he could read it, is a letter from the Six Rivers Conference who started this entire thing.
6 Rivers?
Now,
wait, hold on. Where is 6 Rivers?
well, let me tell you who's all in the conference.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Okay,
Yeah, here we go.
Blackhawk.
Oh.
Remember we talked about Blackhawk the one time
there you
in
go.
the videos, right? Benton, Belmont, Cassville,
You got it.
Bonneville,
You got
Highland,
it. Kidding.
Judah, Potosi, River Ridge, Shullsburg, Albany, Argyle. Yeah, these schools are the ones that started this whole thing. These
The 6
people,
River Conference.
right, they're the ones that sent it out. In the letter, it says, our goal is to secure signatures of 10% of administrators or principals of member senior high schools in order to provide all member schools the opportunity to vote on the proposed amendment at the April 16th, 2014 annual meeting. This was sent out on February 21st. All right? So that's when that was sent out.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea of where this all started. Now, you can't be shocked by that, right? I know I'm not
To a
shocked by
degree.
this.
I mean, it's a small school conference, obviously, and they feel they're being slighted,
Sure.
which they're not.
Now, next I pull up on my phone is the list of schools that signed off on this nice little petition to get the 10% needed to get this thing to be voted on. Okay, here we go. Albany and Argyle, we knew that.
Yeah.
Auburndale, Barneville, Beecher, Dunbar, Pembine, Belmont,
It's a who's who
Benton,
of high school powers.
Birchwood, Boscobel, Broadhead, Brockwood, Bruce, Butternut. Did you know there was a school named Butternut?
Yes, I did. But why are you going? How many?
Cameron,
I get
Cassville,
your point.
Colby,
You can cut it
Cornell.
off. You only have C's.
Right. The only ones out here are on this list that are even remotely close to here. Whitewater High School.
Whitewater vote for this?
Uh-huh.
Wow, I'm going to have to talk to those
Yes.
guys.
Whitewater High School. The Wisconsin Dells, they voted for it. Let's see, who else? Beloit Turner voted for it.
Another small school.
Right. That's it. So, the ones that are
Wait a
around
second.
here.
And you have to have 10%.
10%.
So
these are all the schools
So how
right
many are
here.
there approximately about?
Oh, I don't know, 60, 50, 60, something like that, whatever that is. But this is the interesting part about this, and I'm done using my phone now,
Yeah, sure.
is that this is all has to do with St. Cat's and Whitefish Bay Dominican. That's a big portion of it. Now, do you have schools in the area where there could be problems.
Do you want Steve Jaskolski on? He's calling
Not
in.
on the phone, I don't.
We could get him on a conference call.
Thanks for calling back, though. Now, you have Green Bay, Notre Dame, okay? They've played really well, and I understand how coaches up there may be frustrated. St. Mary's somewhere up north, I don't know. Somebody tweeted that at
Springs.
me. Yeah, St. Mary Springs. Somebody tweeted me that one, that could be an issue somewhere up north or whatever. Okay, fine, I get it. But Cuba City, my good old buddy Jerry.
Was he on the list?
Of course.
Okay, there you go.
Case
closed.
You knew exactly that was coming. But again, this all goes back to them adding the division, screwing Division I guys over. It all goes back to the same old thing. So if you don't want to play St. Cat's, you don't want to play Whitefish Bay, Dominican, and all of that, fine. I have a proposal of my own then for the WIAA. And I propose that Bob Letch be the one that starts this.
I know you're going on this.
Okay.
And I agree.
I want Waukesha County, Milwaukee County, Racine County, Kenosha County, Madison
County?
No. Madison,
That's
Dane County.
Thank you.
Madison. I want all of them to tell the WIAA, we're done.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
We're done.
Couldn't agree with you
We're
more.
going to form our own.
Yeah, exactly.
Have at it. You guys can all play your farmer other schools. Go play the farmers against the farmers.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are farmers, okay? So
that's fine.
You know.
That's fine, but they clearly don't want to play the city schools. They don't want nothing to do with this. So that's fine. This multiplier is moronic.
Okay.
To put it easily. Now you have Wisconsin Lutheran going up to play Division I. Okay? Now.
How do you really feel about this?
No, I'm hot. Now, it's okay for Wisconsin Lutheran because they can handle basketball. They can handle football. They're very good in both sports, okay? However, in Milwaukee now, we haven't got to Racine yet. In Milwaukee, you have Pius.
Sure.
Pius can handle their own in basketball. They are never going to handle football. They're going to get drilled. They have a hard enough time just making the playoffs as it is. Now you're going to put them in Division I if they get to the playoffs?
Yeah,
Here,
right.
have fun against Arrowhead. Now, again, they were in the same conference as Arrowhead, so they know that, but they aren't going to beat Arrowhead.
Okay,
those type of schools.
The question I have for you, and I'm not necessarily opposed to the multiplier deal. How do you get 1.65?
Because they needed enough to move the schools up.
I understand. Why isn't 1.7, 1.6, 1.65? I mean, I'm sure they had their reason for it, but how absurd is that?
So now St. Cat's goes up a division, right? So they go from 4 to 3. All right, fine. Now, again, St. Cat's is the exception to the rule. We've seen St. Cat's football. Very good. They'll be fine. St. Cat's basketball. They're more than fine. Yeah. They can compete at Division III and just be just fine in the postseason. Not worried about that with Letch. But some of these other schools, Racine Lutheran, Kenosha St. Joe's, some of these other schools in certain sports are going to be screwed. In basketball, Lutheran and St. Joe's probably will be fine. In football, not a chance.
This has nothing to do with fairness. There's obviously animosity yet between these public schools and private schools.
No, it's not public. No.
Because when I was up at the state tournament the last several years, inevitably some coach would take a dig at the private schools that they can, quote, recruit.
But these aren't the public schools down here. These are all schools all over the rest of the state.
I know, but that's my point.
In lower divisions.
That's my point. They're still upset about St. Catherine's, Milwaukee Marquette, and this feud has been going on for a long, long time. They didn't even want the private schools to come into their association.
Now, let's talk about that for a second.
Back.
Okay, let's talk about that, because that's a good point. WISA. We all remember WISA, right? And the WIAA. My understanding that I was told from a coach that was involved in this whole thing with WISA and WIAA was that Doug Chickering, who was running the WIAA,
correct,
told the member schools of WISA, look, you come over, this here that we're talking about will never happen. You'll be on even ground. This is never going to happen. Well, Chickering held his end of the bargain up, but Chickering's not there anymore.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Now, we also need to understand something else. This has not been voted on yet. So this may get voted down and may not be an issue. But the fact that it even got to this point is not good.
No, it's not.
Because southeastern Wisconsin is here, rest of the state is here. More schools here than there are here. Mm-hmm. That is going to be an issue, I think, when this vote comes up in April. A huge issue.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you go along the lines of, quote, recruiting, why don't they move Whitefish Bay Dominican up from Division 4 to Division 1? Because next year, they're going to have the best basketball team in the state.
Maybe.
Without doubt. They're going to
we haven't seen Giannis's brother play yet, but he's supposed to be good.
They're getting a transfer from Milwaukee Marquette, who started the last 2 years.
Oh, really?
6'7".
Nice. With Stone?
with Stone, with Giannis's kid, plus they have 2 kids back
Right.
in the starting backcourt. Just hand them the state trophy now.
All
I mean,
right.
they might get bumped up to 3 if this goes through.
They will get bumped up to
Yeah,
3.
right. But I'm saying, okay, so why don't you just bump them all the way up if you're so concerned about private schools winning
But see,
state championships?
okay, now look. This is something else.
And I'm being facetious.
No.
They shouldn't bump them at all.
Right, but this is my point. I understand this is more basketball than it is anything else, in my opinion.
Oh, without
this
a
is
doubt.
all basketball stuff
No
right now,
question.
okay?
Yeah.
I don't think this has anything to do with football, but all the sports are going to get affected by it.
Sure.
And everybody's focusing on basketball, but they're all going to get affected. What if you did this? And this idea got shot down by Gary Ellerson of The Big Show yesterday when I brought it up. I'm just trying to find something better than this. What if you say, okay, if Racine St. Cats wins the state championship, we're moving up to Division III. And they have to play Division III for the next 3 years after that.
But again, that might be a senior-based team.
And that's what Gary Ellison's
you know,
point was.
right,
Ellison's point was that.
yeah.
Well, what happens if I got a good senior class and I got nothing behind it? Now I get penalized and I got to go up.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair.
Right, because really all you're talking about is a handful of teams that have been really good for a really long time in their division that you're upset at, that you want to move up. That's really all it comes down to. And if you look at the WIAA in general, this plays right along into it. Because this whole Division I fiasco, like you talked about, what Case had to run, that's all WIAA stuff saying to the Southeast, we don't want too many of your teams up here.
I mean,
and now we're going to go do this again. And what are we saying again? Same thing. I don't want to see Dominican. I don't want to see St. Cat's. I don't want to see Wisco.
Milwaukee,
I don't want
Marquette
to see
football.
Marquette.
Yeah.
I don't want to see those schools up. I mean, that's all this is.
Absolutely. And I thought everybody was still upset about, the realignment, the
Right.
5th division. And people are still talking to me about this as
Absolutely.
of yesterday, okay? And you think, okay, the WIA can't remotely do anything more moronic, as you said, than that, right? Well, they are. I mean, if this goes through.
Now, again,
it's
hasn't
a
passed yet. They still got to vote, so we'll see what happens. But I still think somebody needs to take the bull by the horns and take these counties that we were talking about and just break away and go, we're going to start our own. We're done. It's all done. Can you imagine how good of a high school basketball tournament could be had at the Bradley Center USL with just the teams in southeastern
Might that look
Wisconsin?
good?
Yeah.
Thanks.
And seeded from, let's say, 1 to 64, 1 to 32 of just the counties
what?
I talked about.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it would be awesome.
Well, the Worcester State basketball tournament was, in a lot of respects, better than the WIAA
You've
basketball
got King
tournament.
and Germantown. That should be the championship game of the state.
If you go back to the 60s and 70s, the Worcester State basketball tournament was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was really entertaining, high-caliber basketball teams. They should. The WIA has a stranglehold
Yes.
over all these schools now, and there's no way they can counter them.
But there's got to be a leader that can get all these guys together. That's who it has to
Are
be.
you volunteering?
I can't be me. I mean, I'll do it, but I don't have enough. I don't have enough swag. Bob Letch has enough swag. I want Bob Letch at St. Cat's to be the guy to do it. That's who I want to be the guy to do it. He's got enough credentials overall. He's coached football. He's coached basketball. He knows how the whole thing goes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not he wants to take that on, who knows? But
Yeah,
that's who, it's got to be somebody like him that has got the Hall of Fame credentials to make this thing run. It has to be. Because essentially right now, you've got the big power out in Cuba City running the whole damn show right now in Pettigrew.
Yeah, I mean, with the realignment for the 5 divisions, the bottom line with that was money. I mean, you can talk all you want about fairness and everything else. The WIA is a big business. It has to generate money. What's the best way of generating money? Bringing more teams to state, basically.
But you eliminated the best teams in the
best state. And the problem is, and we've talked about this before, a lot of the Milwaukee schools cannot afford, as you well know, to send kids up there. They can't stay there overnight. They can't stay at the hotel. All of a sudden, if Chilton, Wisconsin, or Oostburg, or Howard's Grove gets into the state tournament, those cities are empty because there are 500-600 people going to Madison. It's a money generator.
Sure.
That's the bottom line. This guise of fairness.
Right, but it's not about the best teams in the state then.
No, it's not.
No,
Absolutely not.
no.
It's about money. That's the bottom line.
And that's good. I'm glad to see the
But
WIA is
the
running the right way.
But the WIA is not saying that. They've never brought up revenue.
But that's what it is.
That's what it is.
All right. He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky. Fifer. That's been another edition of Sports Junkies, talking high school sports right here at RacineSportsZone.com.